Welcome to our new series on the Pre-Socratic Philosophers. In this series, we will explore the thinkers who laid the foundations of philosophy, asked questions we are still trying to answer today, and examine what they believed. Thales of Miletus would be the first to ask a question that would redefine philosophy. What is everything made of? His answer? Water. Thales is said to have declared that water is the origin, arche, of all things. Thales believed that there was one underlying substance, rather than separate divine acts. He says that the earth floats on water, like a log in a river. He concludes this through his reasoning that if everything stems from water, so too must the earth. Thales is attempting to explain structure through a physical substance, something unheard of around this time. Thales observed that magnets can move iron without being touched, and that things which move themselves or move others without direct contact seem alive. He infers from this that if something causes motion internally, it must have a soul, psyche. However, in this context, soul means a principle of self-motion. Thales is proposing an early version of the idea that all things may share a kind of lifelike principle. This is one of the earliest steps towards thinking about physics and life as connected phenomena. He also argues that natural events, like earthquakes, have physical causes rather than divine punishment. In ancient Greek myths, natural disasters were often explained as the anger of the gods. Thales rejects this and instead claims that earthquakes come from physical processes involving water or earth movements. This is often seen as an early move toward naturalistic explanation and away from mythological thinking. However, he didn't limit his studies to philosophy alone. Thales also suggested that geometry could produce necessary truths through reasoning, proof, not just measurement. Anaximander of Miletus proposed something radical, that everything originates not from an element like water, earth, fire, or even air, but from something boundless and invisible. He called this apeiron, meaning boundless or indefinite. What is the apeiron? It is something not directly observable, not one of the elements, and is unlimited, undefined, and eternal. It is a principle behind matter, not a type of matter. Censorinus reports, Anaximander of Miletus says he thinks that from water and earth, when they were heated, there arose fish, or animals very like fish, that humans grew in them, and that the embryos were retained inside up to puberty, whereupon the fish-like animals burst, and men and women emerged, already able to look after themselves. Anaximander says that the world comes into being through the separation of opposites, such as hot and cold, wet and dry. These opposing forces interact and drive the natural processes that shape the universe. Anaximander also argued that the earth floats freely in space and does not require support from water or any other substance. He reasoned that because the earth is equally distant from everything around it, it has no reason to move in one direction rather than another. He further proposed a kind of natural balance or justice in the universe. Things that emerge from the apeiron eventually return to it, restoring equilibrium. This idea suggests that nature is governed by order and balance, rather than by the actions of divine forces. Anaximenes took the idea of a single origin of all things and made it more concrete. Everything, he said, is air. As reported by Aristotle, Anaximenes says that air is the principle of things, and that from it all things come to be, and into it they are dissolved. Everything else comes from air through processes of change. Rarefaction, becoming thinner to fire, and condensation, becoming denser to wind, clouds, water, earth, stone, explain how air transforms into different substances. For Anaximenes, change is essentially just differences in the density of one substance. This is an early attempt at a unified physical mechanism for change.